And now back to your regular programming.
If you speak better to yourself.
You showed up for probably the dumbest conversation we've ever had on this show.
Let's have that smile again.
Tell me how that happens. Physically should not happen.
Relax.
If you say
Give me as well.
3 times a day, God will line it up.
He's just an absolute hack, and he gets his ass kicked by the teammates every week. It's just terrible.
Welcome back to Hack City. DeLeone and Sean Anderson, 2 former college football players from the University of Rhode Island. Week 7, a little bit of a stinker. Not a lot of excitingness coming from this week. I'm going to be straight honest with you folks. I got a list of bad games that we're going to talk about. We got some good games we're going to get to. There's some good outcomes here, but I have a special segment of just the horrible, shitty football that happened this weekend. Total no-sell. Sean, can you tell our listeners where they can actually get some excitement by going to Bet Online?
I'm going to pat myself on the back during this Bet Online ad read, and you all are going to have to listen to Bet Online and me tell you how
Why do you went 1 for 2 on his college football picks?
It's the world's most trusted betting platform, your number one source for everything sports betting. Hey, Joe, here's some insight for you. If Mahomes don't have nobody to throw to, Mecole Hardman's going to score. And that was a big win for the kid, and you just knew it was going to happen. Oh, he was plus 1,000. He should have been minus 400.
But that was a bet. Oh, so you had a...
Yeah. It was a good one for me.
I thought you were taking credit for my Chiefs plus 1.5 pick.
No, I was not. That was a good pick. Frauds, 49ers.
Shame
that
you
was
didn't get
awesome.
that out on the show.
With the largest catalog of odds on everything from football, MLB playoffs, NHL, NBA, political props. Go bet there. When the game's over, head on over to their online casino, get in on a game of blackjack or poker or their slots games. Head to the website today to get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. Bet Online, the game starts here.
Sean, speaking of the Chiefs, they win ugly again, 28-18 over the San Francisco 49ers. Oh no, Brock Purdy. Oh no, they're not very good when they don't have their star receivers for him to throw to. Oh no, he's overrated. I keep saying it. That's not the point here. The Chiefs have a fantastic game. Despite only 154 passing yards from Mahomes, the Chiefs ran for 184 on the ground, 4.7 yards per carry, and 4 touchdowns. Purdy, as I mentioned, 3 picks. Oh no, cry about it. Oh no, you stink.
Purdy's been appropriately rated by most people.
No,
in the league.
he hasn't.
He has.
He hasn't. It's constant glazing of the man.
Brock Purdy, he is. Everyone knows.
No.
Everyone
This
knows.
is the goalpost moving.
Hey,
that happened
that
with
Fincher.
With this, everybody has acted like he is some rising star in the NFL, and what he is when everything, and this is what I said from the beginning, is that when everything isn't just perfectly piped up and set up for him, Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, Jawan Jennings, Brandon Ayuk, when those guys aren't there and they're not playing well and your defense isn't playing that well and playing good run defense, he's nothing. He's below average. 3 interceptions sucks. I'm sick. Don't act like that.
He had
people
2 rushing touchdowns. He's quirked up. Look, I'm just saying people have been appropriately rating Purdy. I think the discourse has just been Brock Purdy. And look, he landed in a perfect scheme.
I have been called some horrible things for my opinions on Brock Purdy because people act like I am so dead wrong on him. And this season we're starting to see.
I've never had Brock Purdy in my personal top tenor, if that means anything to you.
Yeah, I'm not yelling at you. I'm yelling into the void.
I'm letting you know Kittle did okay. Yeah.
Yelling at a white blank wall.
Purdy landed himself in a perfect situation. He was the perfect piece of Play-Doh for Kyle Shanahan and that offense and that scheme to mold him in and tell you, hey, this guy's going to be open here just because I know my stuff. And that's good. Purdy can make those this guy's open here type throws, but he is not a boss up and get it done type quarterback. Nope. It wasn't a monster day for Mahomes either. The Chiefs did win ugly, but they keep winning. They are just inevitable, and it's frustrating. Mahomes, 154, 2 picks. He was 16 for 27. And I'm going to harp on this a little bit. If you're a quarterback and you're acting like you're going to go out of bounds and then you decide not to go out of bounds and run for an extra 15, 20 yards, it's exactly what it was. That is awful. And the NFL posting clips about that and being like, "Oh, Mahomes breaks loose."
That
no,
wasn't the Kenny
Mahomes did
Pickett. It wasn't the Kenny Pickett
just
fake
about.
slide.
It wasn't as bad.
It didn't look like it was as intentionally deliberate. Kenny Pickett knew what he was about to do when he did it.
Mahomes could have gone out, but he decided, I'm going to get greedy and use my quarterback privilege. I'm not calling it Mahomes privilege. It's just quarterback privilege. And that's why I've never felt bad about DBs tackling a quarterback while he's still inbounds. If he's running with the ball, treat him like a running back. But if he gets a shove while he's still tiptoeing the line, then we have to throw a flag and everyone gets just lit up and we got to defend the quarterback in that instance. Sometimes it's right. But the quarterback privilege goes too far every now and then. He should have just gone out of bounds. Regardless, I don't know how the Chiefs keep doing it. They're receiving leaders in this game, Joe. Noah Gray, 66 yards. Redskins legend Samaje Perine, 22 yards. Xavier Worthy, 19 yards. That boy, Mecole Hardman, 17 yards. It just, they're not getting it done through the air. They're running the rock. They are completely flipping the script. And all the boob dunderheads that keep on thinking it's an air raid team, it ain't. It's a ground and pound offensive running attack with a very stout defense.
And I think, though, what this really tells me is that this Chiefs team, only undefeated team remaining, is more dangerous potentially than it's ever been. And I know that, like, you're looking at me thinking, like, what the hell are you talking about? They're finding ways to win when their best card has always been outscoring everybody. And now they're able to play stout, smothering defense, great run defense. They're turning over opposing quarterbacks. And on top of this, they're able to run the football. There's going to be a time where this offense, this passing attack is going to open up a little bit more. I don't think it's ever going to return to the Tyreek Hill and prime Travis Kelce days. It's not really going to get back there in the near future until they start making big trades and start making more draft investments at receiver. All those things, it's going to take time. But I think that we're seeing a team that is finding ways to win when there is no reason for them to do so. That to me is true dominance. They're not slopping away and just playing bad football and getting lucky. They're changing their approach and they're leaning on what's working. And that is what has always separated the Chiefs and why they continue to be the favorite to win the Super Bowl this year.
I'll say this. Kelce ain't coming back to form this year. You got to stop asking for it. 4 catches, 17 yards. He's a good blocker. I'm never going to criticize a Booth for complimenting his blocking ability. But it's sad that that's the only thing that they can compliment nowadays. This Chiefs team is like so reminiscent of some of those Brady years in New England where he had wholesale grocers to throw to and lacrosse guys, and they just ran the ball with whoever was left in the scrap heap, and they won. And they won in frustrating manner, and you had to listen to these awful Patriots fans, these bad people, these nasty people in New England talk about how dominant they are. And you had to just grin and bear it. Because, yeah, what are you going to say? They're winning with nobody, and they just have the best quarterback in the game. It is impressive when you look at it that way.
Well, now the Vikings are no longer undefeated, Sean. They lost to the Lions, 31-29. Jake Bates, 44-yard field goal with 15 seconds to go. He steps up to the plate. The Vikings, this was a game of runs. The Vikings scored the first 10, then the Lions went 21 straight. Minnesota went 9 straight, and then Goff had his 44-yard drive in 8 plays to set up the game winner. This was one of the best games of the year. And as I alluded to in the open, there were a lot of duds this week. This was an amazing performance by both these squads to fight back, claw back. Their next matchup is going to be Week 18. It feels like we're going to get a rematch to decide who wins the conference, or wins the division, rather, which is really exciting.
Could be both at this point.
Quick shout to Jared Goff. 4th quarterback in NFL history with a passer rating of 140 or higher in 3 straight starts. He is having an amazing season so far. I keep hearing some folks, and they were talking about it on Get Up this morning, that
I saw.
Oh, he might be MVP candidate. I'm not going to go there yet. reality sets in sometimes with quarterbacks like this, but what we do see with these guys that are not take over the game good, but just really efficient and consistent and know how to deliver the ball to his playmakers and lean on his defense, all of those things, that's what makes him a good quarterback, and that's what makes this team as dangerous as it's been.
We should all be bowing to the church of the NFC North this season. It is by far and away the best division in football, and they have right now 3 certain playoff teams and could have, I don't know, just depending on what happens with the Bears if they catch fire 4. They are a legit conference. I can't wait for this Week 18 game. And both these teams, Lions and Vikings, you can't take anything away from the Vikings for losing this one. So identical in this game. You'd say, oh, maybe Minnesota didn't rush the ball that well. Aaron Jones, 93 and a touchdown, total 139 yards. Detroit, 144 yards, 2 touchdowns. Gibbs had himself a day. Amon-Ra St. Brown, elite wide receiver. Justin Jefferson, elite wide receiver. They both had great touchdowns in this game. Darnold still played his ass off. Goff played his ass off. And I'll walk back what I said, I think, last year around September time. I said that Jared Goff was the litmus test on if your quarterback was good or not. Because if your quarterback was better than Jared Goff, then he's good. And if he's worse than Jared Goff, he's not good. That's not how it is anymore. He is definitely good. He is certainly a top 12 quarterback in the league at this current moment. I mean, you have to be excited for Detroit. How could you not be? You have to be excited for Minnesota. Detroit had all the momentum. They were rolling. They kicked the hell out of Dallas. And then you thought they were, within the first half, they were up by like 17-3, 21-10. And I think it was 28-10 at one point. Minnesota claws back, and Detroit doesn't just roll over like they did last year where they would just have a really big lead and give it back. They go back, win the game with a field goal. Awesome. Awesome theater. Awesome game. Both of these teams rule. You should watch as much NFC North football as possible this year. It's better than your garbage division. It's better than my garbage division. It's the best that you got in football right now.
As we know in the Missouri Valley Football Conference, Midwest football, they just do it differently. They find ways to make these football games entertaining. So heck of a performance by both these squads. Hopefully both of them use it as momentum. Sean, the Browns, they lose again, 21-14. They've got 1 win on the year. That first overall pick won't be Shedeur Sanders. I saw there was a mock draft, by the way, that was put out there that was, I think it was ESPN, that were saying that, Shedeur Sanders could be a Cleveland Brown if they had the first overall pick. That was what the projection was. There's no way that would let it happen.
He would not
at
let
all
it happen, and I don't think he should.
That's the team he's very specifically referencing when he's saying, I am going to make sure that there is a choice and a decision made on where my son plays. I hope Cam Ward does not end up here, man.
Dude, it has become what was last year, a very exciting, scrappy Browns team to a Browns team with no life. Nick Chubb, I love seeing you come back and score touchdowns. Sit out the rest of the year, please. You're better than this team. You are better than this team and this ownership for making bad decision after bad decision and letting you plant yourself at 1-6. You're better than that. Feel bad for David Njoku, who just has been dying for the football, uber talented tight end. Can't have anybody throwing it to him. It's just impossible. I'm not going to harp on the booing on Deshaun Watson. Everyone has a lot of feelings about it.
I want to get to that. I want to talk about that because we do need to talk about that. Deshaun Watson goes down with the injury, tears his Achilles. He's out of the game. I think that Danny Parkins of Fox Sports had the best talking point on this. And what he had brought up is that to separate from this situation of booing a player when he gets hurt shouldn't happen, no matter the circumstance. But his teammates, Deshaun Watson's teammates, the remarks that they had going after the fans after the game and trying to uphold Deshaun Watson's character was just so weird. How can you possibly want to associate yourself with an evaluation of this man's character? I'm like, I understand why Browns fans are happy because there clearly was no way that they were ever going to bench him unless something like this happened. Cheering for it, not great. Not something that you should be doing. But to hear Myles Garrett and to hear Jameis Winston claim that he's a high character individual, what the F? Like, what are we doing here? And also, the funniest part, and everybody's brought this up, this is an original thought. everybody's saying that Myles Garrett said he's been an upstanding citizen for his entire college career and most of the pros. If you have to use the word most of, you're kind of playing into what you understand to be a very off and also very misplaced point.
It's a team, though. I can understand that you go to battle, you go to war with these guys, you put your body on the line every single week, every single practice. I can understand the team aspect.
You could have said, don't boo. You didn't have to go and suddenly be a character background check on him.
Browns fans also, it was noted, weren't booing before they figured out how bad he was. There was plenty of memes in the parking lots about Deshaun Watson and rather unfortunate jokes being made about his past indiscretions by Browns fans. And I thought the boos were more likely towards ownership more than they were Watson. It was more of a revolt about, you shouldn't have started him. You should have started DTR or Jameis after week 3. You didn't. And now the comeuppance has come in an unfortunate manner with a terrible Achilles snap. And now we're going to have to boo somebody. And I thought it was partially towards Watson because he has not made himself a personable or likable figure in Cleveland, not being a good quarterback and the past indiscretions. And I think it was towards the team in general for letting them keep trotting him out and tanking a season for the Browns, who I believe even if they do end up with a number 1 draft pick, they shouldn't be allowed to have it. The Browns can't be trusted with it. They should get an immediate trade back. Whoever, it should just go to an NBA lottery system for some other team specifically for the Browns. You can't have it. You don't get the number 1 pick. We give it to Jacksonville. They get 2 picks back to back if they win that lottery. And they can bungle it.
What year is it that we're already back to square one, that Jacksonville and Cleveland?
I don't know. It's tragic. I thought Cleveland was getting themselves off the mat. I thought Stefanski was a good coach. He might be a rube.
He's a great coach. I think he's getting completely effed over by this contract situation in which Deshaun Watson's owed $92 million over the next 2 years, fully guaranteed. Find somebody who wants to eat that. Speaking of a contract that's causing pain, but for an opposing team, Saquon Barkley. Oh man. Who, if anyone, by the way, wanted to put out an anytime touchdown bet and also yards total bet, it would have had to have been on Saquon Barkley. You don't need to be a big brain, a sports handicapper out there to have come up with this one. If somebody was selling this as their pick, call into question their credibility. I want to see a deep pull, not something as obvious as this, as Saquon in a 28-3 win over the Giants, 187 all-purpose yards, 2 touchdowns. He had 3 of Philly's longest plays, 55, 41, and 38. Though I feel like dominant win, great for Saquon. That's not the talking point, because now here we are again with Daniel Jones getting benched, and then now he's back starting against the Steelers in their next game. What do we do? Like, what are we doing? I saw Bleacher Report. They titled the post-game Giants stream, which I didn't tune into, but the Talking Giants guys that do it, they do great work. It was, are they just in an eternal rebuild? Yeah, we are, because of Daniel Jones.
Look, somehow Malik Neighbors has to get off this team. He has to escape.
No.
He needs to escape.
Could you imagine?
Could you imagine being that guy?
Hold on for a second. This is the vision that I foresee. Cam Ward throwing to Malik Neighbors, handing the ball off to Damian Martinez. Could you imagine that? How beautiful that would be?
Oh, yeah, that'd be nice.
Or DJ Giddens. That's another one. That would be great. Could you imagine that young nucleus? But instead, it's going to be
I can see
Carson Beck throwing 3 interceptions. It's going to be Malik Neighbors demanding a trade as in his second year. And then Ollie Gordon running into the backs of his linemen.
Yeah, that's very possible. I could see Dylan Gabriel going in and throwing 3 interceptions, and because the Giants didn't want to trade up.
If Dylan Gabriel, 5'4",
what's wrong with Dylan Gabriel?
He's not a draftable player, and you and I both know that. If 5'2", Dylan Gabriel, he's not a draft prospect. If 4'10", Dylan Gabriel is my starting quarterback, I'm finding a new team. Dylan Gabriel is who you pulled? One that I can see that would actually more realistically infuriate me is like, say Will Howard tests really well and he has a strong finish the season. That would piss me off to no end.
He's got the big goofy Eli demeanor. You know they'd love to fall into that trap.
That couldn't be more of the next Daniel Jones, Will Howard. Are you kidding me? Someone's going to talk themselves into it, and it's going to be right here. Here's the prediction. Here's the fucking prediction, Sean. They're gonna go on a run in the final part of the season. There's going to be some dude that they pick up at a deli in Paramus, New Jersey, and they're going to say, "Hey, man, you want to play quarterback for us?" And he's going to put together some crazy run, and they're going to win, 4 of their last 8, and they're going to be picking 10th instead of 2nd or 1st in perfect position to get Shedeur Cam Ward, and they're going to take Will Howard, who's not a first rounder.
Oh, that is phenomenal. I can't believe you guys have 2 wins. 0-4 at home. Way to stand up.
We're already off on this is a bad start. 2 wins is a bad start for the trajectory of being out of the playoff conversation. And in the first overall pick conversation.
You don't want Ewers?
What was last? No, don't put that
big
on
arm,
me. Don't put
big
that
arm
on
from
me.
Texas coming to the
Don't
Big Apple.
put that out. Don't put that evil on me.
Ewers has got a cannon. Come on, let him sling it.
Screw you.
It's better than Nussy. All right, but look, here's everyone wanted to talk about Saquon Barkley in this game, rightfully so. He came out and they didn't boo him. Philly was at New York.
I thought they did boo him.
No, they didn't boo him. He got a big standing ovation. Everyone was cheering for Barkley. You know why? If the Giants were good, they would have booed the hell out of Barkley. The fans would have. But this franchise is so beat down. It is abused dog situation where they're just so beaten and heartbroken that they can't even get mad about the Philadelphia Eagles, lifetime rival, bitter, hated rival, taking the best player they've had in the last 10 years. And him walking out there in that big 2-6, looking strong and fast. Everyone was just like, yeah, good for Saquon. We suck, and our ownership couldn't do right by him. It was actually a pretty impressive piece of class by the New York Giants, and I know it came from them being bad. If the Giants were 3-3 before this game, I bet they boo Barkley. I bet they definitely would have, because they would have had some spark. But there was no spark. They're a wet firework that won't go off. Wow, that was embarrassing. That was sad.
Yeah, that couldn't have been a less present game.
Could you imagine being a 2013 Giants fan and then Odell goes to the Eagles? 2015 maybe. Odell goes to the Eagles and he wouldn't have been booed. It would have been a cacophony of booing. You wouldn't be able to hear yourself.
I don't know why I'm misremembering this. I didn't think that there was such a positive.
Oh, yeah, they popped for Saquon.
It shouldn't have been the case.
Nah.
Speaking of ineptitude in the city of New York, at least they got the Yankees, but the Jets stink. I mean, I don't even need to sum this game up. They stink. Sean, I bet on this game. I bet on the Jets to cover and to win. And I'm watching this game. I'm working last night. I was doing my producing job last night. And I was watching, and I had my phone up, and I watched the whole first half. And I'm thinking, this offense looks great. Breece Hall's playing great. Like, Devontae Adams is starting to get some targets. He's got 3 catches for 30 yards. Like, this is great. They're winning. They're going to separate in the second half. And I turn off my phone and I flip on over to, or not flip on over, but like I continue working. And I lose track of time. I'm like, oh, let's check in on the score. And they were getting whooped. I was dumbfounded by the separation for them to lose 37-15. Devontae Adams, 9 targets, only 30 yards. Blew what was a 15-6 lead to give up 31 unanswered points. Worst bet of the century, by the way. The stratagem was tied to this, which is even worse. The stratagem died again and back-to-back.
You put the stratagem on the New York Jets.
I only needed the Jets
to
not lose by 9 points.
Oh, no way.
That was what killed me. 9. I took them plus 9. The Steelers have never scored this many points. Like, the talking point here is that Russ has 2 touchdowns. They're booing him in the first half, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, hey, this guy's actually kind of good. This offense actually looks kind of good. And like, I'm not saying that all is forgotten and he's like on an MVP track after one game. There is a difference between Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. One that I think that we probably were wrong about.
Yeah, Russell Wilson, when he throws a miracle ball to George Pickens, it's like in George Pickens' vicinity, which I guess that's the difference. He had some crazy catches in this game. It was impressive. But other than that, I didn't think he was running like a super smooth offense. I actually thought this was genuinely the best game that I've ever seen Najee Harris play. 21 carries, 102, and a touchdown. And it was good running too. It wasn't king of wasted movement, Najee Harris. He was getting upfield. It was solid and strong. I mean, having that running back performance compared to Breece Hall, keep mocking him at 2 in your fantasy drafts, losers, who had 38 yards. And you know what?
Well, he had a very big first. Wait,
Rodgers, he had 38 rushing yards.
but he had over 100 all-purpose
yes,
yards.
Rodgers has now become running back check down king in his advanced age. This is all he does. He just drops back and tries to throw it to Breece Hall and Braylon Allen. That's what he does. It's rough. Breece Hall had 9 targets. What? Alan Lazard, Garrett Wilson, and freaking Devontae Adams and Tyler Conklin. And Breece Hall is the most receiving yards out of all of them.
I don't understand why you just randomly were taking a shot at fantasy people who were picking him. He had 6 receptions for 103 yards. That's a good fantasy play.
Yeah, gross. I want a running back to be a running back and then maybe catch some passes. Not him be the number 1 receiver on a team that invested very highly in receivers. The Jets are just the Jets. And that's the only way you can describe them, because at every position on the Jets team, there is an elite to borderline elite player. Quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, borderline. Offensive line, you got a couple dudes that are actually not bad. Defensive line, Quinnen. Linebackers, you got a couple. Defensive backs, you got Sauce Gardner. They have dudes. It's like they're without talent. It's not like everyone's hurt. They're just bad. They're just the Jets. And they lose to the Steelers. And the Steelers should have won this game. But the Steelers should have won this game 20-15. That's how that final score should have been. Not 37. Not watching the Pittsburgh Steelers put 37 on your asses. Ugh. This Steelers offense isn't that good.
I don't know. Wait. I don't know if it's fair to say that after the way that they played last night, man. That 31 unanswered points. They played great in the second half.
They scored 18 all with a kicker. 13 against the Broncos, 20 against the Chargers. They lost to the Colts.
But we're talking about a different offense with a different quarterback who started. I think that there is something to be said for them to open up and to play as well as they did in the second half. That there is, I'm not calling my shot that the Steelers are going to go on some tremendous run, but it feels like there's life in this offense when they were struggling to move the ball with Justin Fields.
It'll be interesting to see Russell Wilson's next game against non-complete ineptitude. That would be great to see. I'd like to see him actually get challenged, whereas the New York Jets just didn't do that. It was embarrassing from them.
As an enjoyer of plenty Minnesota versus Northwestern football games, I'd like to give a little bit of an appreciation for some of the bad football that happened this weekend. I got to say, I can't remember the last time that like week 7 produced this many just either major blowouts or just really ugly, just shitty football where it was super low scoring and just turnovers, penalties, messy, gross football. I don't even say that with like a tinge of love. Like I say that as I was trying to watch Red Zone and I was like, this is boring. This is really, really boring. I just have to call my shot here, or not shot, but give a shout to these games. I'm referring to 16-10 Colts over the Dolphins. You're down to Tim Boyle, who comes back in. Shout out to my boy Tim Boyle. 34-10 Bills over the Titans. Blowout. Mason Rudolph can't do anything. What the hell is going on with them? 20-15 Rams over Raiders. I'm praying for anyone who watched this game. You need one of those. If you're a Rams or a Raiders fan, you need one of those sink attachments that they have in the chemistry rooms in high school that washes out your eyes if you get chemicals in it. You're going to need one of those after you sit through a game like that. And then 40-7 Commanders over the Panthers. Great bet by me, but God, that was a terrible, boring game without Jane Daniels. Which one of these do you think was the worst?
Oh, Colts Dolphins. I'm not going to try to open up this whole can of worms again. But there were some things with Richardson that were very disappointing. He had 4 completions at the half. I saw him running right into defenders.
I'm not going to open up this can of worms, but I'm going to open it up.
He's not good. He's not good. He's just not a good quarterback at this point. He's not ready to be.
I'm not taking the bait.
I'm not trying to bait you.
Yeah,
I'm just
I'm
making a statement of my own opinion. He's not a good quarterback at this moment. That was the ugliest game I've ever seen. If I was the Dolphins, I would throw it to Tyreek Hill every single play. Because why are you not doing that? Why are you just deciding to be bad? They are awful. The Bills, that's fine with me. I actually like the Commanders game because the Marcus Mariota show was pretty fun under unfortunate circumstances with Jaden Daniels. He didn't even take like a crazy put himself at risk shot. It was just it happens. It's football. Sometimes quarterbacks get hit in the ribs, in the pocket. That's tough. They're saying he's week to week. I doubt he plays this week. I doubt he plays next week. They have a bit of a cushion, and I'll give them props for bringing in a serviceable backup in Marcus Mariota. Good teams that treat themselves seriously, bring in a veteran guy that you can't have him start. You cannot start Marcus Mariota in this league anymore. But he still knows how to play the quarterback position. And he's still kind of dynamic. He can still scramble and move. He can still throw it down the field if a guy's pretty wide open.
Yeah, he's a good backup for Jaden Daniels.
Yes.
But if Jaden Daniels does kind of have these, until he adds more weight to his frame, if he does have these spurts where he gets hurt like this, Mariota's the right guy.
Yeah.
And, there's people calling is he a system quarterback, blah, blah, blah. We're not going to jump down that. But Mariota is the right guy to work in this air raid scheme that Kingsbury's going to try and run.
The Panthers, out of the losers of this game, though, these four, this is the real kicker, Joe. Who's the worst team here? Because it has to be the Panthers, but then you start thinking about the Raiders and how they're heartbroken that Aiden O'Connell is going to be out. The Titans, they're just in a rebuild.
I really think that the Titans need more recognition for how shit they are.
Yeah,
like,
but
seriously,
they're
are
the
bad.
Titans, though. They're just not as relevant.
A lot of big brain film watching analysts were trying to make the case of like, this team could be pretty good. You need to watch out for this team. And it's like, well, the one variable we're betting our money on is the fact that Will Levis is either the next coming or he's going to be the worst quarterback in the NFL, which is kind of what he's trending towards. And I also have to bring up, speaking of bait, Desmond Ridder, your boy Desmond Ridder,
don't call him my boy.
Future Super Bowl
call him
champion.
My boy. What?
Future Super Bowl champion. He called a shot that he was going to win a Super Bowl at some point. Future Super Bowl champion Desmond Ridder, DoorDash driver Desmond Ridder, was signed by the Raiders. How do you feel about that?
You know what? It's bad going to bad. So it is what it is. He's not.
No one else to pick up.
I guess not. Because Desmond Ridder,
or to trade for?
I can't believe Atlanta got Rondale Moore, who hasn't played a game for them this season due to injury, for Desmond Ridder from the Cardinals. The Cardinals may be the most inept GM system and trading system in the NFL because he is. I hate. You know what? It's just rough being this mean. He's one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever seen go to the field in the NFL. Genuinely, really, really. Not good. Good in college. Fine in college. Scrappy team. A lot of energy with that Cincinnati squad. Went to the NFL. If your quarterback in the NFL can only be described, that the only positive trait that his teammates can say about him is his leadership qualities, that means he's not good. That means he's not going to do anything. You want to hear he's got a big arm. You want to hear he's making the right decisions. Not that he's just the loudest guy on the field that you can hear from the sidelines. I would hope so. It gets loud in NFL games. It's kind of commonplace for the quarterback to be loud in practice. Good luck, Raiders. Who do the Raiders have next? This is going to be interesting. This is going to be fun. Who the hell do these Raiders have next? I'm taking them by 40.
Some other available quarterbacks.
The Chiefs. Yeah, the Chiefs are going to win 16-2. The Raiders are going to get some fluke safety in the first quarter, and the Chiefs are going to throw for 8 touchdowns. Gardner Minshew, it might get his head taken off by Chris Jones, and Desmond Ridder could throw 3 straight pick sixes.
Neither one of us are allowed to take that bet this week in best bets.
Oh, no, yes.
I'm calling the shot here now because what are we going to fight? I will write it down now as my pick if you really want to beat me to it. So no, neither one of us.
You can't clear the picks until the Monday night games are done.
Couldn't have. I will wake up at 2 a.m. and I will place that.
Then that's good for you. You better be up. You better know it.
No one's getting that pick. That couldn't be more of a blatant, obvious pick. I'm sure that line should be a college football line.
Should
like 30,
be, you know,
minus 30.
They're going to be disrespectful to the Chiefs and set it like 17.5.
It's gonna be like 4. Watch it be like 4 or 7.
It should be 30.
Yeah.
And I like Antonio Pierce. He had no favors done for him with this squad. Not a one. Bowers is good though. Bowers is actually doing pretty well.
All right, that's going to be it from us, folks. At Joe DeLeone, at Sanderson Radio. Stay tuned on Wednesday. We'll be dropping our midweek Best Bets show. At Hack City Pod. Subscribe, 5-star review wherever you're tuning in on audio. We'll talk to you folks later.